Hey guys, what's up? This is the Bandit, and I'm back with another video. Hey, check this out. I'm gonna need you guys' help. I'm gonna need y'all help. I did a video about ordering cards over the internet, right? Well, I do that. I try to, check the guy out and stuff like that. Not saying that this guy did this to me or anything, but I got my mail today, a card that I ordered, and the card was not in there. Yes, the card was not in there. Now take it. This is not the first time this has happened. And I don't like when it happens just like anybody else. It kind of, pees me off, really. Because people work so hard for their money, and then you got people out there who just take stuff that doesn't belong to them or take stuff they're not paying for. That's not cool, guys. That's not cool. Stealing is not cool at all. And I do not advocate for that. But back to this. We're not going to cry over spilled milk because I believe that whatever I lost, I'm going to get it back 10 times fold. Okay? All right. Went to my P.O. box. This is what I received. It says, received in damaged condition. That's what the post office stamped on there. This was the original envelope. Let me cover up dude's name because I really don't think he did it. He wrote it. He wrote it out. This was not a pre-printed envelope. It was wrote out. I think he handed it to the clerk. The clerk slapped the postage on there, and they also slapped on the tracking, right? Now, it came in a black bubble wrap. As you can see, it's kind of tore right there, it looks like. I hadn't taken it out of this envelope. You see, it's still sealed. I didn't even take it out. I just left it in this condition because I could tell it's not a card in here. It's not a card in here. So it was no use in me opening. So whatever post office kind of did their job on this part right here. This is kind of what they're supposed to give you, supposed to let you know, hey, it was received in damaged condition. All right. But what I want to do is, and what I'm going to need you guys' help is, I'm going to pull up this tracking number and let's see if we can find out what actually happened, okay? All right. Now, take a minute. Let me go ahead and pull this tracking number up so you guys can. All right, guys, if you can see this up on the screen, this is what we're looking at here. All right. I'm going to look at it on my tablet right here if you guys see me looking down, but you guys can look at it. All right. I purchased the card on May the 29th. That's right. Okay. The guy took it to the post office that same day at 2:44. He took it to the post office, right? Okay. The post office in his city, I guess, what is it? Storm Lake, Iowa. The next day they shipped it out, which is right because normally the post office isn't supposed to hold mail. So they shipped it out the next day. It says departed Storm Lake, Iowa. Okay. It arrived that same day, which maybe, what is that, 9 o'clock at night. It took 5 hours. It arrived in Des Moines, Iowa. Okay, we're tracking. Everything seems cool. It's moving steady. Okay, it left Des Moines, Iowa, and got to Boise, Idaho on June the 2nd. Okay, now let's pause right here because, okay, it got to Des Moines May the 30th, and it arrived at Boise on June the 2nd. So what I'm thinking is that was over the weekend. The 30th was like a Friday. So we got to count for the weekend, and then June the 2nd would have been a Monday. So I'm not saying that mail does not travel on the weekend because it does. But we gonna let's give them a pass on that. Okay. Let's give them a pass on that. Just say the weekend, the people didn't work on the weekend. They didn't check it in till Monday. All right. And it was Monday at 7 a.m. So when the workers got back that Monday, they checked it in at 7 a.m. All right. Then it leaves there and it arrives at Kent, Washington that next day. Okay. from Idaho to Washington State. So then it departs Kent, Washington that next day. Well, wait a minute. It was 3 hours later because it arrived at Kent, Washington at 10 that night, and it left out at after midnight at 12:52. So 3 hours it stayed there and it was gone. Okay, it leaves there, and I guess Kent, Washington is very close to Seattle because it got there within, shoot, it said it arrived in Seattle like 30 minutes. So I guess that's really close to Seattle. Now here's where it gets tricky at. And this is where I think the problem is, but you guys tell me what you think. It got to Seattle on June the 4th at 1 a.m. June the 4th, 1 a.m. And then it says it's in transit on June the 7th. So that's 3 days. Now, this is what's kind of puzzling. June the 4th was on a Wednesday, so why did it take 3 days to get in transit? Interesting. And then it said it was in transit all the way to June the 10th, another 3 days. And it arrived in Louisiana, Shreveport, Louisiana, at 9 at night. That's weird. That is really weird. Like from June the 4th to June the 10th, which was almost a week. It was in transit for 6 days, 7 days. It was in transit. That's crazy. That's really, really crazy. I mean, and there's no checking in. So to me, I think that's where the issue is. But let's keep it moving. So it gets to Shreveport June 10th at 9 at night, and it leaves there at 2 a.m. in the morning the next day, which was June the 11th, which is today. And then it arrives at Texarkana, which is where I'm from, at 4 a.m. this morning. It gets to the post office at 4:30. I mean, they checking in at 4:30, and they put it in my box at 6 a.m. Excuse me. At 6 a.m. So, and when they got in my box, y'all saw what it looked like. I really don't think it's the seller, to be honest with you, because it was hand wrote and it had to be checked in to a clerk. It wasn't a pre-printed envelope, because I've had trouble with pre-printed envelopes. You know, you can buy the machine, and not saying anything about it, who uses that, but you can actually pre-print a label, put a envelope on, put the package in it, and then just drop it in the mailbox. But the way that he did it was he basically hand wrote it. He wrote it by hand, and he physically took it into the post office for the post office to mail off for him. So I don't really think the package was damaged by him, and I do think that he did put the card in there. What I think something happened at the post office, and I'm looking that it looks like it was a big gap in between Seattle, Washington, and Shreveport, Louisiana, somewhere in between there. That's what I think. It was a week of just transit, just meaning that it's floating around somewhere. Let me know what you guys think. Hit me in the comments if you like this video and want to see more content like this. Subscribe to the channel. I'll be posting some more stuff if I figure it out. But I will continue my investigation. I'm probably going to call the postal inspector and we can get on it. People say, hey, did you insure your car? Yeah, your card is insured for up to $100. If you want extra, you have to pay extra. And a lot of times I do, whenever I mail people's card, I do insure it for the amount of the card. And I did a video on that, do insure it, because things like this do happen. And it may not be somebody who stole it. I just got damaged in the mail or whatever. But people work hard for their money, and I believe that if you work hard for your money, you should get what you deserve. Let me know what you guys think, and keep following the bandit. All right, I'm out. Peace.